Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear sisters. I've been getting a lot of messages about people, feeling bad that they missed out on the siblings rivalry topic, and a lot of, you guys requesting more information and more tips. And this is really a hot topic. I totally understand. So I thought I'd just record a quick clip explaining the main principles that we talked about, and hopefully this will help. And inshallah, you guys will benefit from this. So we're talking about a couple of different principles, and they're here all illustrated in this nice picture. So number one is that the feelings need to come out. Whatever your kids are feeling needs to come out. We need to make room for feelings. We cannot mandate that our children only have positive feelings and tell them, not to be angry, not to be mad. We need to validate their feelings, and it's only when the bad feelings come out we can actually make room for good feelings. So brothers and sisters need to have their feelings acknowledged. We need to give them words if they're very young or if they're very mad. So you need to tell them, sometimes you need to help them. You can say, hey, you're really mad. I understand. Oh, that's really infuriating. Oh, wow, that's like making you angry, whatever the situation is between the siblings. You need to give them a fantasy world or a fantasy reality. You can just kind of express it for them. Say, hey, you wish you didn't have to share. Oh, you wish your brother wasn't like this. Oh, you wish. So you want to acknowledge what they're feeling, and then you want to channel that somewhere else. Like you cannot suppress it. You cannot suppress the negative energy. You need to be able to channel it in a way that's appropriate. So you can say, hey, why don't we show me with your dolly, how would you like to play? Or, show me how frustrated you are, or let's make a picture, or you give them an alternative way of expressing these feelings. Now, this is very hard for most adults. We were never taught how to deal with our feelings, and especially in many different cultures, only positivity is encouraged. We were never allowed to actually express what we're feeling. So this is very difficult to model with our own children, but how hopefully it will make a difference, inshallah. And then you show them how to discharge angry feelings acceptably. You tell them, hey, when you're mad, you can do X, Y, and Z. You can punch the ball. You can be mad and say it with words, but you're not going to be hurting anybody. Okay, so we're drawing a line that hurts. We're saying hurting is not acceptable. The second principle we talked about, and this is just going to be a brief summary, and I hope this, you guys take it for what it is. This is definitely not a full-time class. You will avoid comparing. Comparison is really, really bad, and it doesn't serve any purpose. We sometimes justify it by thinking that we're going to motivate someone with comparisons, but that doesn't work that way. And this is, where we had that second wife example. Number one was, when we're not allowed to have any bad feelings about it, and number two was, when we were being compared with her. Oh, look at her, she's like this, she's like that. Does that motivate you to be any better? No, it doesn't. It just makes you more angry. So instead of comparing, this is a very actionable thing. Instead of comparing, describe what you see, describe what you feel, describe what needs to be done. You don't have to say what the brother or sister are doing. Just say what needs to be done. We compare when we're angry, and we compare when we're extremely pleased. So when we want to acknowledge our children's good sides, you don't have to compare. You don't have to put the sibling down to make your point. Just describe what you see. Okay. The third point is that equal is less. So get rid of the idea of equality. Children don't need to be treated equally. They need to be treated uniquely. So give them, their special kind of love. When you say, I love you all the same, and this was the example, of how, let's say there was a co-wife, and, the husband said, but I love you both the same. Does that make you feel loved? No, it doesn't. It just makes you feel loved less, because, oh my God, he loves us all the same. But when you are loved uniquely for who you are, that makes you feel special. So love each of your children uniquely. Okay. Siblings and roles. This is a big topic, so this is just going to be a short, quick summary. When we put somebody into a role, that person adopts that role and continues to behave in such a way. And a lot of times, this is not what we want for our children. We don't want these kind of roles for them. So if we label one child as the angry and mad one, they will actually continue behaving that way. Or if we label one child as the good and the responsible one, we're actually just placing a burden upon them to always be good and responsible. And even if they don't feel like it, they feel they have to meet the standard in that particular role. This is really hard to kind of not do, but you need to really give your children a chance to develop their full potential and not just just to be in the prison of the roles you're giving them. Sometimes we give roles by birth order. We say, oh, he's the youngest, and then you can be 75 years old and you're still behaving like you're the youngest, okay? Or he's the oldest and he got everything done. Sometimes younger children can also contribute. It doesn't always have to be the oldest. So be very careful of what kind of roles you put your children in. They are never useful. Roles are never useful. And I'm sure when you compare it to your own sibling relationships, you will realize that a lot of these roles you were put in over the years are not something that you actually want to be associated with. So the next principle was sibling and roles. When the kids are fighting, there's a couple of levels here. It's normal bickering. Ignore it. Don't worry about it. Second one's when the situation is heating up, you might want to intervene, but you want to help them. You want to model how to resolve a conflict. Now, this one's difficult because, again, most of us were not taught how to resolve conflicts properly. So in this case, you want to have both sides speak to each other. You want to acknowledge that this is a big problem, but you want to leave it up to them to fix it, okay? When the situation is possibly dangerous, you want to make sure, you want to ask them, if this is play fighting, is it mutual? If they're, kind of kicking and punching each other, it could be very well play fighting, but you want to make sure that everybody is happy with that, because play fighting can escalate quite quickly when one of the sides doesn't want to be play fighting anymore, and then it becomes actually hurtful. And when the situation is definitely dangerous, when, there's being hurt is being done, we don't want to ignore that kind of situation. We want to intervene. In that case, don't pronounce any judgment. Just separate them, make sure nobody's hurting anyone, separate them, give them some time to cool off, or give yourself some time to cool off, and just describe what you see. Just say, hey, look, I see two kids seeing, oh, I see someone throwing a ball. I see someone, hitting a punch. Don't judge, because you don't know exactly what happened in that situation, okay? And sometimes, one of the sides could very well be provoking the other one into violence. So, you want to reserve judgment. How do you problem solve? This is, a big one. Again, most of us have not been taught how to resolve problems carefully, or, within our families. You want to call a meeting, you want to explain some ground rules, you want to write down each child's feelings and concerns, you want to make them feel heard. Even young children are capable of doing that. I've done meetings with children as young as 4. Definitely model that kind of behavior. You want to invite each child to kind of defend themselves, to state their side. You want to invite solutions. You want them to help, what's going on here. And then you want to decide what kind of solution you want to live up with. And you follow up later. So this is just a short summary. We had, 2 full sessions on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I do realize it's difficult for a lot of you to attend, or, to be there when I announce the sessions. But hopefully this summary will help you kind of get the better idea of what we discussed, inshallah. All right. Take care, inshallah. And salamu alaikum.